Welcome to another tutorial. Today I want to talk about special characters, review something in preferences, and also to get you more familiar with both code view and design view. My goal is to get you to feel comfortable in both, although you're going to be coding mostly in design view. However, you'll find that understanding code view and switching back and forth between code and design or using split if you prefer, it'll be so much easier for you to do things. So we're going to start off on page 81, and it talks about code view options over there. And so let's take a look right up top over here. In order to do code view options, let me open up the document that we've been working on. And if you want to find code view options, go to view, and then you're going to see code view options. What you need to be concerned with is word wrap line numbers, syntax coloring, and auto indent. I really don't think you need to worry about anything else at this time. If you feel that you cannot survive another day, you can click on hidden characters, but I wouldn't really stress yourself out. Word wrap obviously does the same thing that it does in other programs and wraps to the next line when it runs out of space instead of continuing on. Line numbers let you see the line numbers. We saw that in our last video. However, always remember the line numbers that the book is going to have are not always going to be exactly what you're going to have based upon what they have for the HTML original code and what you may have. So leave this as is. If you don't have word wrap line numbers, syntax coloring, and auto indent already checked, just make sure that you put a check mark there. Then go into preferences. Remember, we did that through edit and preferences, and we went through some of that stuff. And just go to general. And over here, you're going to see use strong and M in place of B and I. B and I are the old bold and italic. New browser requirements are going to eliminate B and I. So you always want to use strong and M. I am not a big fan of putting things directly in a code the way you're going to see it done in this. But when you learn CSS, you'll understand how much easier it is. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. And then you can read about the indent width, the tab size, and all the other things in here that you're really not going to need to be concerned with at this point in time. So on the bottom of page 81, we're actually going to start, and they basically want us to format with strong and M. I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. There's probably more than two different ways. However, we'll just stick with two. So in number 2 is where we went into preferences. And number 3, you close the preferences. Then we go into design bin, and we're going to find in the paragraph heading, we're going to select the not in the fourth sentence. So let me close this here. We didn't change anything, so you can just click on hold. So we're going to go to the EN. Now, make sure you choose EN and not EM. There are differences, which you'll see very shortly. The easiest way for you to select something is either double clicking if it's a word. If it's a single character, I like to click before it and use the arrow key. So you'll see that later on. So what I want to do here is select not in the fourth sentence. And that's right here. And notice in code view, it's automatically selected over there. So what they want to do is make that bold. So I'm going to do this in design view. You can do it either in design view or code view. It really doesn't matter. So it tells us to click on this B. And notice what it does. It inserts a strong before the not and a closing strong after the not. I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to use a shortcut, which is the same as Microsoft Word and many other programs. Hold my control key down and hit B. And that does the exact same thing. So let me click outside, and you'll see that not is actually now bold. In a paragraph after the not the E and the M. We want to select more authority. So I'm just going to click here, and I'm actually going to double click. So I have more here. And I'm just going to hold my shift key down and keep dragging till I get to authority. Or you could click here, hold the shift key down, and click here. You'll find that handy if you're selecting a whole bunch of sentences, a whole bunch of paragraphs. So you use whatever method that you feel like to use to select. I never use the same one all the time. I use basically really what I feel like using. And that's my answer. If you're going to ask me which one to use the one that you feel like. Sort of like, what do you feel like eating for dinner? Well, I feel like eating this. Tomorrow, I'm not going to feel like eating this. So the next thing we're going to do is save our changes. And obviously, it tells us to go to the next stage. So again, remember my motto, save early and often. Then it tells us to work with special characters. I have to be honest with you. I do not really know why that they chose to put this so early in there. But here's an option for you to learn about special characters and the advantages and disadvantages of doing it different ways. So basically, the special characters we're worrying about is copyright, registered, a dash, a double dash, quotes, single quotes, double quotes. So you can read all that stuff on the top of the page over there. But one thing it talks about is special characters that are using the ampersand and a word may or may not be supported in older browsers, and they may not even be supported with newer browsers. They want you to actually use the numeric code. And there's ways to get to numeric code without having to memorize everything. But for now, we'll just do it the way the book does. And it does remind us to make sure that you put the numbered sign after the ampersand. And browsers, it does tell us that all browsers are going to support the numeric codes. So we're now on page 83. We're going to insert special characters. We obviously have the typography document open. We're in split view. It wants us to select the hyphen between December 15th and January 2nd. And that's right after the EN. So here's December 15th and January 2nd. I'm going to select it by clicking here and hold the shift key down and hitting my arrow key one time. That's just my preferred way to do it. You do it however you want because I really won't know what you're doing. So do it however way you want. Number 2, it tells us to go to the insert panel, click the arrow button to the right of the character, and that brings up another menu. Do not click on character because it'll just insert whatever character happens to be there. So make sure you go to insert. You're going to go to HPNL. Down over here is the character. Notice you see non-breaking space, horizontal rule. Horizontal rule we're going to use a lot of. Rollover image you're going to really love. That's when you actually can push your mouse over an image and it changes to another image. So we're going to go now to, we have the submenu open, and we're going to choose EN dash. That's right here. And notice what it does. It puts in an ampersand, a number sign, an 8211, and a semicolon. I know that you now can go to bed happy knowing that the dash is code 8211. Maybe somebody will call you on the phone and ask you what it is. You'll know, and you can give me 20% of your winnings. Now we want to select the hyphen between the 25 and the 3. I use hyphen and dash the same. So we have this over here. This is really a minus sign if you want to do it. Whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. I clicked and I use my arrow key. And then we're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to use en dash. You could probably tell we're going to do en dash because we're in the en dash section. So if you pick that out, good job. So now we're going to go to insert. We have to go to HTML. If you don't want to do it that way, by the way, you can click on insert here and make sure HTML is already selected. And then you can go and do the same thing down over here. I just going to choose to do it through here. I like it this way. That's just my personal preference. You, of course, can do it however way that you want. I'm going to go down to character. And again, I'm going to choose en dash. I could have also copied and pasted and done the exact same thing. So that takes care of number 5. And then it tells us number 6, replace both sets of double hyphens with the em dash. Okay, we can do that. So let's find the double hyphens over here. Here's the first one. I'm going to again use the select method by hitting my arrow key. I'm going to go to insert, and I'm going to go to HTML, and eventually I'm going to get to character, and I'm going to choose em dash. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. Okay, so now we have a longer dash. That's really the biggest difference. Now, one thing I want to point out in our next section, the wording is a little confusing. So number 7 says, select the capital C in the first line after the copyright symbol. Use the character menu in a common insert panel. Well, that may think that when you click on character, that's in a common menu. It's really not. It's just mean the common insert panel is the insert panel over here. So let's select the C in the first line after the copyright symbol. And that is here. So I'm going to select the parentheses just to be obstinate. And I'm going to go to insert. And we're going to go to HTML. We're going to go to character. And right over here is copyright. So we have it over here. Now you could put the parentheses there if you want to. I just personally think it looks better that way. You know, again, remember, don't look for anything that says common. That's just the insert character over there. All right. So now you see the actual code over here. So let's select this here so you can find it. So now you can see it says @copy. We're going to select the R in the first line of the registered trademark. And this time I'm going to select just the R. And we're going to do the same thing. So we'll go to HTML. We'll go to character. And it says registered, which is really registered trademark. So now you see it has the parentheses in the R. And you can kind of see why I really didn't like it. It kind of makes it hard to read, so I'm going to get rid of it. And I think that looks a little bit nicer. And the last thing is we're going to select the capital TM in the same paragraph, and we're going to use a trademark character, which is here. And I'll just double click this one. Go to insert, and we'll go to HTML. We'll go to character, and there's our trademark, and boom. So this is what it actually puts in for you. And you can see it puts in the actual code for you. For the registered trademark, it's &reg. For the trademark, it gives you the actual numeric code. So this is a good time to save everything right here. And we're going to move on. The next thing is to insert a table of quote characters. I want to talk a little bit about tables first. They sound a lot harder than it really is. So don't worry about it. A table just begins with a table tag, and then you have a TH, a TR, a TD, possibly a caption, and I will explain each and every one from the table that we're going to create. So I will go to the next page, and we're going to click on the table button in the insert panel. So we're going to go insert, and it wants us to the end of the paragraph after the inch and foot marks. So I'm going to put it in the wrong spot. So it wants inch and foot right here. It wants it here. So I'm just going to put table here. So make it easier for me to find it. And I'm going to put it here. Now it does tell us to hit the enter key. So I messed up. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to hit insert. And then I'm going to go insert table. And I want to explain this to you. Yours is probably going to be different, have some things in there. I've already done this before. It always remembers what you have. So make sure that you put in for rows and columns, 2 rows and 2 columns. Get rid of the table width. Get rid of the border thickness. Leave the cell padding, leave the cell spacing blank, and click top here. Then it's going to tell you to type in a caption, which is quotation characters. So let's type in quotation characters. And I'm going to click on OK. And that's awful hard to see. So what I'm going to do is change something just to make it easier. And in the border, I'm going to put a 1. And then we're going to take it out. Now, by the way, you can change things in here by clicking on the rows and the columns. And you can assign this a class. You can assign the table an ID. You can put in a width later on if you want. You're not going to be able to. Now, this makes it a little bit easier to see. So now I'm going, oh my gosh, I put it in the wrong spot. Okay, no problem. So let's click anywhere in the table. And notice down in the bottom we have table. If I click on it, it's going to select the whole table for me. Then I'm going to go to cut. I'm going to find put my table here and select that because I want to replace it. And I'm going to hit Control V to paste it. And it puts it there. Once I click on refresh, it's going to get moved over here. So I'm going to explain this. Forget the border 1. Table means beginning table. The caption is something that you put on top of it to help screen readers. So we have quotation characters over here. Then we have T-body, means start the body of the table. Then we have TR, means we have a table row. TH means we have a table header. Remember that we chose the header row on here. And scope means for screen readers that refers to a column and not a row, meaning going down. Then because we don't have anything in it, the system will put in a non-breaking space, and then you have the closing TH. And then we have, because we have 2 columns, we now have a second TH. Then we ended the row. We have TR and now we have a TD. That's just a regular table cell. So you're normally just going to have a TH at the top. Some of them are going to have them on the top and the side, but most of it will just have it on the top. So the TR ends the tag, T body ends the actual body of the table, and then we have the body, the whole table itself as in there. If I wanted to add another row, there's many different ways that I can do it. The book's not telling you to do this. I will show you how to do it, and then you can, well, let's just click on TR. Let's copy it, and let's paste it. And now, as soon as I refresh, we'll have 3 rows. So that's one way. That's a little trick that you have, a little side benefit over there. Okay, so we're back to 2. We've created, you can read on the bottom of page 86, project 2. By the way, for those of you that have purchased the ebook, one of the great things about this company is they make the ebook the same pages as the actual book. So if you're working on your ebook and I tell you page 86, number 3, that should be in yours, 86, number 3. I'm working off a book. So if any of you have an ebook and this is not true, please let me know so that I can tell the publisher of it. And I do am able to talk to one of the biggies in Against the Clock, and she will help me out. One of the things I'm going to do is offer suggestions on things that are a little bit challenging for the students or things that really should be incorporated into it. So I value your suggestions. If there's something you feel is especially confusing, or there's something that you feel doesn't get explained properly, please let me know so I can pass it on to her. They're working on the 2018 version of Adobe. I really don't know if they would be able to get it in time for that version since it should be coming out shortly. But in the next version, your suggestion might be there. So we're going to click in the top left table cell. Now, because I put in the border, it makes it a little bit easier to do that. You can click here or you can click here. So the first time I'm going to click and do it here. And it wants us to type in character description. Now, one of the things you'll find about tables, unless you specifically format them and give them a size, it's going to expand to fit the width of whatever's typed. So let me click on refresh. You definitely don't want to hit the enter key inside of code view. And notice that this expanded, but notice it's bold. The reason why it's bold is because it's a table header. So now I'm going to click here and I'm going to hit the tab key just like you're in Microsoft Word and going from cell to cell. And I'm going to type in character. Now, notice the non-breaking space right here. So let's look what happens as soon as I type character. It's gone. So that's one of the advantages of working in design view. I had to delete the non-breaking character first in code view, but I don't have to do it in design view. Free information, no charge. And then you can read a little bit about the things I was talking about here. And number 7. Okay, we are going to insert the other character dialog box in here, which is double curly break quotes, which is number 1 on page 88. So we're going to click in the lower left empty cell of the cell you created in a previous exercise, which is actually this exercise. So we are clicking right here, and we're going to type in double curly breaks. So double curly quotes. We'll press the tab key, and that'll take us to the next cell. And what we're going to do here, we're going to go and choose left quote from the character menu in the insert panel. So by now you should be familiar with the character menu. So I'm going to go to insert and HTML and character menu. And remember, it tells us to choose left quote. Then it wants us to hit a space. And I'm sure you can guess, it now wants us to do right quote. So we're going to click insert, again, HTML, character, and we'll find right quote. So now you can see it has a nice set of quotes, basically an opening and a closing quote. And you can see it has the codes for the two of them. Then if you want to insert a new row, just like in Microsoft Word, hit the Tab key in the bottom right cell, and it will automatically create a new row. Now notice you have a new TR, a new TD because we have two columns, and a end of the row over here. So in the left cell, we're going to type in single curly quotes. Press the Tab key. And we're going to go into the insert and we're going to choose other characters. Now we're going to actually select a character. So we'll go to insert and we're going to go HTML. We're going to go to character and we're going to choose other. Now it might be a little hard for you to find the picture from the book. So it's this one right here, which is a single quote. And we're going to click on OK. We're going to click a space. We're going to do the exact same thing. And as soon as I find HTML and character and other, we'll now get the other quote. And that takes care of that. That is number 9 on page 89. We're going to press the Tab key, create another row. And we're going to type in double prime, which is inches and seconds. So we're going to type double prime, parentheses, inches or seconds. We're going to hit the Tab key. And then we're going to go to code view. So I'm just going to type something here just to make it a little bit easier to find. Of course, you're working in a table, so that does make it kind of easy to find. And that got rid of the non-breaking space for me. And it wants us to put ampersand and a capital P. Make sure it's a capital P. Now, as soon as I start typing, it starts trying to figure out what I want, and now we have prime. So we can just hit the Enter key, and it fills the rest of us in for us. And then tells us to refresh. And boom. So you can see we have it over here. Then we're going to hit the Tab key in Design View. And this time we're going to type single prime. And feet or minutes. Go to the next cell. And then we need to go into code view. And it's easy to find because we have the table cell here. And we will just type in at, and this time little p. And we have little p prime. That is number 15 on page 90. Now we're going to insert special characters in the code. That's on page 91. So what they're going to do, we're going to actually replace the letter X with what looks like the letter X. If you're going to ask me for an explanation, I can't really give you one, but because the book tells us to do it and we're good people, we're going to do it. I don't see any big deal if you have an X or an actual code for the X, but this is how they want you to do it, so it's always a good idea to do that. So we need to click and find the multiplication sign heading and find the X between 50 and 22. So we'll go into here, multiple sign, here's 15 and 22. Again, I'm just going to use the arrow key and hold the shift key down to select it. So you can see it's down over here. And then we're going to type in at and start typing in TIM. So let me get over here. By the way, if you type it in design view, it's going to be at TIM. So you're not going to actually get the time sync. So let's select it over here. And we want at TIM. And it gives us times. So now we replace the X with an X, only it's a little bit more like a mathematical X. You can see it's kind of raised and a little bit smaller. So that's the big plus of doing that. I held that out just so you guys can be surprised when we typed it. You know. Now we're going to go between 6 and 9 in the same sentence, which is right here. And let's select the X here. And this time we're going to put in the actual number. So we have at, and then we need the number sign and 215. And make sure you click on refresh. And then we have basically the exact same thing looking. And that's all I'm going to do in this video. So we've done some things that we haven't done before. We've done some things that maybe are a little bit out of the ordinary. So we are going to eventually pick up the pace. The next thing we're going to be doing is creating lists, the unordered list, which are really very, 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 very easy to do. So I'm going to click on save. Then I'm going to go and choose view. And rather I meant edit. Let's try that one more time. File. Let's see if we can get that error. And I'm going to go into Internet Explorer. And I can't get that error. Remember, if you get that error that says, oops, cannot display it, it's got like a sad phone, please open in Dreamweaver, even though you're in Dreamweaver, then do it this way. You're going to go into the File menu, and you're going to right-click on it, and you can actually open in the browser of your choice. So I just open it up in Chrome instead, and it's over on my other side, so we have it here. I have 2 monitors, so I need to put it on there. So you can see we have all these different things, and it's pretty cut and dry over here. And I'll close this now. And one more thing I'm going to do, we talked a little bit about the styles CSS. So let me open up that file. And you can see it's not linked at this point in time. So we have no style sheet that is actually affecting it. So I'll open it up manually. And these are the things that you have going on. Body, it's setting the margin, and all these things we'll explain. Things that you really need to be concerned about are font family, margin, font size, color. All of your colors, really, your text colors, unless you specifically want something different, should be all zeros. Your background colors, unless you specifically need something, should be all F, which would be white. And then it does give us the images over here that we want, but nothing's figuring. We're not showing anything. This would format the header. This would format the nav. This would format any licks and things of that over here. Then you can see we have something here, a ID that is excerpt, and that would format the excerpt with a width, a margin over here. Then the navs, this is what is your list, which are your menu system. So it's giving you information here. And this is when your mouse goes over, it's going to change the color of the text to 600 and put an underline there. That's it for this video, and hope to see you all on Saturday. Have a great night. Remember, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have not uploaded anything to your site, make sure that you create the site through the codes that I gave you, your SAM code, and then your password and the port. Make sure that it works. Several of you have already done it. Make sure that you know Do It is waiting to make sure that you all have. I see several of you have already done that, so that's good. So everybody have a wonderful night. Please let me know if you need anything.